Let's go share. Share. Go share.
What?
What? Yeah. One of those two. I think you're good.
All right, just checking with the folks online, hoping that you all can see the PowerPoint that I have thrown up on the screen. I got a thumbs up. Perfect. All right, so today, oops, go back. Page up. Today we're going to talk about profit and loss statements. In day before yesterday, I think all of the chairs and treasurers should have received an email from me about doing your profit and loss statement. And I know a lot of folks doing profit and loss and reporting is not their first and most favorite thing. So actually, it was Ernie who talked to me about, and Ernie left because he's smart, who said we should probably do kind of a brown bag on this. And I thought that was actually a really good idea. So in the email that you all received, you did get the instructions. You got, just so you are aware what you received, you got the instructions, you got an example of a profit and loss, and you got the code, the actual accounting codes that the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council uses. So we'll talk about each of those as we go through today. The El Dorado County Fire Safe Council allows associate fire safe councils to open a bank account under our nonprofit tax ID. And we do that because it's a lot of folks can't go get their own tax ID. We already have one. You're all kind of affiliated with us. That allows you to do a lot of things, but it also requires you, as part of an associate council under us with it using a bank account under our tax ID, you then have to report with us. If just checking, if you are not an associate fire safe council that has a bank account under our tax ID number, you do not have to submit a profit and loss to me. Only those associate councils who do have bank accounts under our tax ID are required to go through this process because you are then folded under us. What do you get from us for being part of our tax ID number, being part of our reporting and accounting? Is you get no bank fees or online bank charges. We pay those. I pay a monthly fee to the bank that covers everybody to have online access to your bank account and all of your, because most people don't have a lot of money in their bank account and banks tend to charge fees if you're under a certain level. We cover all of that for you. What else do you get is you are not required to do your own annual nonprofit tax return. If you have your own bank account, not under our EIN, you need to check your own tax situation. But if you are running a bank account with us, your expenses are included in our tax return annually, and you don't have to worry about that. And then the third thing, in which we just completed, and Grizzly Flats is fully aware of this, you are included in our annual audit. And that's important to some of you. I know Lester's online. He has a grant that is that he applied for as part of his Fire Safe Council. Well, annual audits are often required under grant reporting requirements. So because you are affiliated under the umbrella, your information is included. And how do I get that information? Is I get that through your profit and loss. So the responsibility for the fire safe councils who have umbrella bank accounts are that you submit the profit and loss, that you maintain appropriate records of receipts and expenses. So you may have to keep receipts, minimum of 3 years. To look at it, if they're under our grants, it might be up to 7 years that you need to maintain your accounting records for your fire safe council. Our annual audit generally is for the prior year. Those are the most important to me. The top, those are the ones that our auditor may request, but our grantors may come in at any time over 3 to 7 years and ask for records and ask for receipts. So you should be aware that you need to maintain an appropriate level of documentation for donations, cash receipts that you receive, and expenditures that you make, and you should hold them for 3 to 7 years. Question?
Okay, so Lester's grant, was that on your EI?
Yes.
Be like our Hellfire grant?
He did a direct grant with PG&E, so it's similar, only he applied for it, but he used us as the fiscal sponsor. Correct.
Does Courtney get that information to you, or we do?
The CAL FIRE grants that are under our EIN, I already have. Yep, I'm good with that. I keep all that records.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that we may talk about appropriate records at a future brown bag. I'm thinking that might be a good idea for councils to be thinking about that. And then the third thing is, when asked, please submit whatever financial information. And for example, our auditor asked for every document for receipts and expenditures from Grizzly Flats this year as her one sample item. And so Mark had to give me a whole thumb drive full of goodies that I provided to the auditor who went through it. And what they're looking for is to make sure that there's appropriate approvals, there's appropriate documentation behind it. And she asked me who approved all these expenditures. Grizzly Flats has a really nice form that they use that documents that things are approved by their board. So so that is your requirements. Did you want to say something?
Can you hear me? Yes. And we have an internal policy that we also have to have a co-signer on a check, similar to what the County Fire Safe Council has. And it became even more unique this year, or actually it was last year, that I became treasurer along with chairperson. So essentially I was writing checks that theoretically I would be approving. So we always have a second signer on the executive board that co-signs every check that I write. So there's literally checks and balances on that.
And that's perfect. I would recommend that to folks, that they have two signatures on their bank accounts. Lester asked the question, I mentioned maintaining records of donations. What would that be? They deposit checks and in many cases write a letter, thanks, but don't have more than that. I think if you have I think you need to notate that you received X number of dollars at this event. And that way you can show that the money went into your bank account. And you should always probably have two people counting that money, especially if cash donations occur. Your cash box should be opened by the treasurer and another member of the board who counts that. And then it would be good to have documentation that at your Greenway stay, you had a box out, you received $535 in checks and $200 in cash and was deposited to the bank. Mark.
Do we need to take pictures of the currency that we deposit? I know the previous treasurer did that. Trying to do that and copy it. There's a lot of software on printers now that don't let you print out copies of money.
I don't think so. I think if you document and have your two board members counting it and signing off for it on the note that you're going to keep in your records, I think that's sufficient. As long as there's not one person. There's no internal control if one person does this. You need two people to make sure that one person's not doing something they shouldn't do.
Thank you.
Yes.
What kind of records?
In terms of the cash, I'm thinking a note to file. We held our green waste on this day. We had our cash box out there. The treasurer and somebody else opened the cash box. This was what was in it, and it was deposited into the account, in your bank account. And then when you go to the bank account, you're going to be able to see that the deposit occurred. And I think that that's sufficient, but always have two people doing that. Lester also asked, checks received for address signs, is there a need to track these? You're going to show those as receipts for address sign sales in your profit and loss, Lester. So you should be able to match your address sign sales forms that you receive. If you receive a form, I know Occam has a form that they have people who are requesting address signs fill out so that they can be made. You should probably keep those requests, and then you can match them to the cash that you're depositing and notating that on your profit and loss. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it scares me, but yes.
Okay, thanks, Lester. All right, so moving on from satellite accounts. So what is a profit and loss? A profit and loss is basically a summary of how much income came into your fire safe council and how much you spent during the year. It's just a summary. At the bottom, it tells you when it says profit and loss, if it's a profit, that means you brought in more cash through donations or receipts or sales than you spent on fire safe council eligible activities. If it's a loss, then you did not bring in as much cash during the year as you spent on stuff. There's no right thing to do. I mean, your check balance is the one that's going to hold you to what you can do. This is just a way for these expenses and revenues to actually be brought in at the end of the year and included in the expenses and revenues for the broad fire safe council. So your stuff, when you submit it, I provide it to our bookkeeper, and our bookkeeper actually enters it into our QuickBooks for tax purposes. So that's the main purpose of this and why we need it.
Note A.
Yes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Why is it important to do this? It's good transparency for your fire safe council community. You want to be responsive to them and responsible to them for what's going on financially. There is a lot of stuff that goes on nationwide. You can hear embezzlement and all these other things. You want to be open and transparent to the people in your community to earn their trust and maintain that trust that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It allows your board to provide, to have information to make decisions. So particularly your bank statement, but your profit and loss. Do you have funds available to do stuff, and what do you want to do? And then thirdly, it gives us the information we need to do the tax return on your behalf. So the profit and loss identifies receipts and expenses by type, and there is a list of, I mentioned a chart of accounts that came out in the email to you on profit and losses. Don't please deviate from that list. If it doesn't seem like it fits exactly, pick the code that it fits most closely to. That is the chart of accounts that we use. And as I say, we fold your expenditures into ours. And if one doesn't have a code, then I have to figure out where it goes. So please pick one of those account line items that most closely matches what you're doing. Sometimes for me, the catch-all is Firewise events. So you're doing some stuff and it's not necessarily printing or whatever it's maybe goodies that you're providing for your meetings. That's a Firewise. Your meetings are a Firewise event. So sometimes that's my last best option. But if you have any questions and if you're not sure where you should post a particular thing, give me a call. Don't hesitate. I'm happy to walk through that, but please don't create your own accounts for the purposes of the profit and loss. What you do on your books should match, but if you already have an account structure set up, I'm not asking you to change what you have, but the profit and loss has to be in the account structure of ours. Also a reminder that your profit and loss, in this case, it's $615.61, I think, on the screen midway down, which is the net of your revenues or your income less your expenses, should match the change in your bank statement from July 1 to June 30th. Which is why at the bottom, your bank statement information is there. So those two numbers will have to match, and we'll talk a little bit about that again towards the end. But that's also why you're submitting your two bank statements. It's a validation of what you are putting in your revenues and your income and expense is matching the change in your cash balance for the year. So all receipts and all expenses which occurred during the year must be included, with a couple of exceptions that we'll talk about. But that includes cash donations received, charges incurred with your online payment mechanism. So if, I know the Square, I had a Square for when I was with Occam, that takes 1% or 2% of your sales. Those are charges, those are expenditures that are offset against you. So you would record the full amount of the payment, and then you would record the expense that you're charged by the Square. This includes, and I'll come back to you, Mark, this includes expenses where a member of your board fronts the money. So I'm with Occam or Green Trees, whoever. I pay for the green waste dumpster on behalf of the Fire Safe Council. The Fire Safe Council submits for the reimbursement of that dumpster payment. Then they give me the cash because I paid for it up front. The Fire Safe Council is going to record the expenditure on their books because it is an expenditure of the Fire Safe Council. This person's made whole, and the reimbursement is going to go back through the Fire Safe Council. So just because you as a board member may pay for it separately, it's still an expense of your Fire Safe Council. You did it on behalf of the Fire Safe Council. So that expense should be reported on your profit and loss.
Wait a minute. Question.
Yes.
So you're saying if I donate the expense, I'm not gonna ask for reimbursement, but if I donate the expense, that should.
If you donate the expense, they should be recording it as a donation and giving you a donation receipt so that you can do whatever you want on your taxes.
For board member.
For anybody.
Yeah.
The example was a lot of time it's the board members that are doing it, not general members, but anybody who does it, if they're doing it really on behalf of the Fire Safe Council, because the Fire Safe Council doesn't have cash to do it up front or what have you, really it should be recorded as an expenditure of the Fire Safe Council. Let me look at Lester here. Lester, you have a question.
Well,
Go ahead, Lester.
I was going to check. So in the example you used, when the payment request form is submitted, it's been going to the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, not with sometimes a CC to the local Fire Safe Council, sometimes not. And then the check gets cut to the individual, not to the Fire Safe Council. So would the Fire Safe Council be aware of that, or the kind of, again, I'm just trying to think how this is going to get tracked and be sure, yeah, that it's showing up.
So I should never get a request for reimbursement that does not come from the treasurer or the chair of the Fire Safe Council. I mean, general members should not be submitting requests for reimbursement. It should be going through the board of the Fire Safe Council. So to that extent, yes, you should know that it's occurring. And therefore you should know to include it in your in your expenditures.
Okay,
Does that make sense to you?
hopefully going forward.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Well, that's why some of this stuff we've talked about in the past, or I've talked with the bookkeeper. Now it's time, let's get all of this together. Mark,
Can we go back to the score thing real quick?
Uh-huh.
So how do we actually document that on our P and L? So, for example, if we have $600 in credit card sales from the silent auction, and they collect, whatever it is, $4 and something. So how would I be
so you,
documenting that into the chart of accounts?
so you have $600 in sales. And you would record that as your donation or whatever revenue account. And then in your expenses, you're gonna have, I put it under banking fees, because that was the place
Okay,
to
banking
stick
fees.
it. I stuck it under banking fees. Bob,
That brings up something. Can we do this on?
that's a whole different policy.
So as I understand, and I know that this has changed over the years, but we used to do raffles, live auctions, and alcohol sales, which very much helped the live auctions. So, and then I understand that was discouraged in future years, and that it was okay to do a silent auction because in the eyes of the state, it was not considered gambling where raffles and live auctions were.
Right, and it was a Department of Justice issue, but we have, and I can't access the website right now, but you have what we call it, a fundraising policy on the website to address just that, and I believe Mark's correct. I don't want to quote it because I want to look back and read it, but that's, I believe, the reason why we did that. But it is in that policy section.
All right, so, Angel, did you have some?
So Janet, I think what you're suggesting is I should have some sort of a ledger in addition to my bank account.
I recommend it.
So
That's,
notes.
I kept basically, an Excel file where I had my expenditure lines and I would post like a bank, I mean, like an account ledger. So you would post printing to the printing line, and that way you have this, if you are doing a lot, like Grizzly does a lot of stuff during the year, they have a whole system for that. If you're only doing 5 or 6 things a year, maybe you don't need to. But you need to have a sufficient system that helps you when at year end coming to do this. And for you to report back I used to do the treasurer's report with Occam on a monthly basis whenever we had our meetings. So however you're reporting back, whatever makes it easy for you to report back to your fire safe council on what you're doing. Yes. So poor profit and losses are once a year in July. So you should, the email that you just got requested, the email to treasurers and chairs.
Yeah,
Okay,
we just fixed that. That was my mistake.
so you'll need to tell me so I can forward it along.
Yeah, somehow we didn't pick it up, so anyway.
Okay, I'll forward it along to you. It's due the end of the month. So, and I'm flexible to a degree. Then at some point I start hounding people. All right, so exceptions to recording things during the year. Come on. So expenses which were reimbursed by us, for example, Title III green waste, during the year. So you held your green waste day in March, you submitted your reimbursement, I paid you back in May, in and out in the middle of the same year. Please pull both the expenditure and the receipt back out of your P&L. And the reason for that is I'm recording it on this side. So I get your reimbursement request, I post it all, it goes to get the check issued back to you. If you're recording it on your side and I'm recording it on my side, we have a double expenditure. So if everything occurred during the middle of the year, please take it off of your side for the purposes of the P&L. So here's the example that we just talked about. You held your green waste day in August. You paid your dumpster rental in August. You submitted the reimbursement request, which we paid back to you in October. For the purposes of the P&L, both the expenditure and the reimbursement would be excluded from your P&L. Lester.
Sorry, let's see, we submit expenses associated with some of the assessment training, printing costs and preparing for fair, things like that. Again, they're expenses that occur in the same year as the reimbursement. And in some cases, I don't know if it's Title III funds or what. Would those fall under that same exemption?
So Lester, you're not posting your expenditures for assessment. Are you talking assessment training on behalf of the EDC-FSC, or are you talking
Right.
assessment training?
No,
So those are, you're not posting those through your associate account.
correct.
So you don't need to worry about those at all. I'm taking care of it on the broader level.
Okay, great.
You wouldn't be recording any of it through your fire safe council.
Okay.
Same with the fair. I know Angel submits stuff. That's taken care of as part of a fire safe council expenditure at my level. So example number 2 is expenses occurring during the year, but not reimbursed until the following year. So when we were at the beginning, Chuck noted that there was a footnote. If you have something that crosses fiscal years, so you had the expense during the year and I haven't paid you back yet, you're going to footnote at the bottom because you need to leave it in or your numbers won't tie. You're going to leave the expense in, but you're going to footnote X number of dollars is submitted for reimbursement and I haven't received it yet. So, for example, you held the green waste day in May and you were not reimbursed until August. So this is a reimbursement, the reimbursement side. So you, in the prior year, you held the green waste day, and then in the current year, you were reimbursed. You're going to footnote the reimbursement saying this item includes X number of dollars, in this case, $1,850 in reimbursements from the parent organization for a prior year green waste event expenditure, because you don't have the expenditure in your account to remove, because that was in last year's P&L. So you're going to footnote it, and then we're going to take care of it centrally here.
We will have one of those.
Lots of people are, because I got a whole bunch in June. So there's a whole slew of people who are going to have expenditures, but their reimbursement's not going to be until the next year.
You would not.
Your P&L, like if you're using QuickBooks, is there a way to add some like that?
I can't answer that for you. Most of them are coming in as a PDF file, so I don't know how to do that in QuickBooks.
So I can literally just type.
Yep. Yes, Chuck.
Sort of the principle is that an expense, that's first, that like no pay,
Mhm.
didn't include that bank account would match.
It would not match.
Right.
Correct. Yes.
The same with the income next year, get that back. There's no expense to.
Correct.
But with the note, the bank account then still matches.
Correct.
That's-
Correct. So that's exactly the reason, because if you start pulling only one half of the transaction out, then your P&L balance and your bank account balance change will not agree. And that's the important thing, is for those two to agree.
Reason for the footnote is to explain why they don't.
Before they do.
They're going to agree, but I need to know that part of it was for our tax accountant needs to know that the expenditure was in a prior year. And so they're not going to see the reimbursement offset. So it's all part of the information they need for the taxes, so that we don't the expenditure already occurred. The reimbursement is really for them a net item, because it's only an expenditure on their end, because we're all together. And I know that doesn't make sense, but yeah, it's just that she needs to know that the expenditure occurred in the prior year. We're probably not going to include the revenue in the taxes, the reimbursement, because it nets to zero. You're going to have a plus, I'm going to have a minus. It nets to zero for tax purposes, but the expenditure already happened. So she wants to know why this net zero thing is occurring. And so she will take out the 1850 when she does the taxes.
Well, it's simple for us, we just have accounts match. Yeah,
She does the hard part. That's why we pay her the big bucks.
Good.
And so the other example was the expenditure piece, where your expenditure occurred during the year and your reimbursement isn't going to occur until July. You would put the footnote next to the expenditure. I've got this expenditure I haven't been reimbursed for. And that's just so that I can tell the tax accountant, don't worry about this. Trust me, it works, Angel. So then this is the big part that we've just been talking about. That difference in your bank statement has to match the difference in your P&L. So you had $615.40 or whatever that is, and that matches the change in your bank statement. And that's the key item, is to make sure those two match. Questions? Make sense? A little bit of Greek? Still a little bit of Greek.
I have a question, if I could.
Go ahead, Lester.
For those items that, again, say, one of the board members pays for it, gets reimbursed directly from El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, so it wouldn't show up in the bank. I guess it would end up, so it wouldn't show up though in the revenue side, but it would show up in the expense. I'm kind of a little lost anyways, yeah, how those get.
So it's actually going to show up in both, because we're treating it as if the Fire Safe Council paid for it. Even though your member paid for it on behalf of the Fire Safe Council, we're treating the item as if the Fire Safe Council went out, bought it, paid a check for it, and was reimbursed for it. Because it was on behalf of the Fire Safe Council. So you would record the reimbursement at the top. You would record the expenditure and the expenses. They're going to net to zero. But if it occurs within the same year, it's all going to fall out anyway. But yes, you should, for your purposes of your Fire Safe Council reporting back to your own Fire Safe Council, that was an expenditure of your Fire Safe Council. It was on behalf of your Fire Safe Council. So you should be telling your community that you did that on their behalf. It was a Fire Safe Council expenditure.
And
Thank you.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Give as an example down there, person who donates that shows as a donation.
Yes.
And you shouldn't hide donations like that and not recognize them. You should. I mean, it's good to have an additional
Correct.
donation and more income and so on. So that would go that way, right?
Correct. He did a in-kind donation.
Yeah.
It's not a cash donation. He did an in-kind because he bought something and he gave it to you. So maybe you're going to show it as a non-cash donation. it won't affect your bank balance, but it's something that you want to tell your fire safe council that you did.
So you wouldn't show it on the income line there.
You, not for the P&L, but you would want to show it for your fire safe council that you received in-kind donations of things. Because you want to be open. Hey, Bob donated this thing. And we want to give Bob credit for that. Bob could have donated cash, at which point then it should show up here. But if Bob donated a thing, it really isn't going to show up here because it's not a cash transaction. Thank you, Bob.
Well,
Be like Bob. All right, in the end, you're going to send me the profit and loss, your July 1st bank statement, your June 30th bank statement, preferably in a PDF. You can attach, combine them and send them PDF. If you can't, go ahead and send pictures. I'll figure out how to do it on my end to put them together, and then you're done.
Easy peasy.
Easy.
Couple of months.
Your math didn't work.
She doesn't wait for much. She just writes.
I did last year. I think it would, I waited a little bit last year. I had other things, so. Any questions about how to submit it back? Those are the three things that I need to finalize it. Any questions about profit and loss statements? If you have questions as you're doing them, don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to walk through all that stuff.
Day or night?
You can do it day or night. I may or may not answer.
What's legitimate fundraising? It's on the website.
It's on the website.
On the website under the form section.
Policy.
It's a whole set of places right there.
Where will this be? Show up under policies and procedures this meeting?
Where do you want to put it?
One should maybe under the agenda and board minutes.
Go there easily.
And then we will ultimately put it down at the bottom. There's a spot for videos that it will come in, but I think for right now, since that section itself needs to be changed slightly, we'll put it up under the board agenda in minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, which is where all the
It's a
other
good
videos are
question.
getting populated, but guys,
Website is searchable, right?
Theoretically.
and Melissa, if you have trouble finding it, let us.
Yeah, well,
Janet, is this also the time that you ask for the code of the vendor we paid?
I usually, so the other question, good comment, Angel. I don't usually ask for that until January. I usually do that more on a calendar year. But just as a reminder, we need to issue tax documentation to our vendors for whom we pay more than $600 a year. And so if you have a contract with a vendor, and I'm going to use waste disposal as an example, although it's a poor example because I have all their information, but I get it from you anyway. If you're paying somebody more than $600 during the year, then we need to give them a 1099.
What if Ken Nipper, associate councils are paying them $60 a year?
They're only getting,
That doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter for that.
And do you have South Tahoe Refuge?
I think you gave it to me last year, but yes, you would need to get it for me.
So you don't need El Dorado disposal, you said?
I don't think I need El Dorado disposal, but I think you should put it on there just so that they know they can go back and get the amount. Hi, how are you?
I finally woke up. So for that the 1099 stuff, we need to get a tax ID number for vendors.
Yeah.
Besides all the one it's supposed to.
Yeah, so if you do business for more than $600, I need the vendor name, their tax ID, their address if you have it, and the amount you spent with them.
And that would be $600, might be several different chunks
Yep.
in the year.
Correct, cumulatively.
And
Yes, Lester?
does that apply, if the purchase is made by a board member and then reimbursed?
Yes, because your expenditure is on behalf of the Fire Safe Council. So when I talked to our tax accountant, we were saying yes.
Otherwise, you'd have board members.
And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do,
We don't want to.
we don't want to go there.
No, I just realized we need bigger. I just looked at Marcy's, our treasurer's P&L she sent you.
Uh-huh.
She even has no footnote.
She did. I looked at it. She footnoted the whole thing. It was great.
Hurts. Only here so you can appreciate it.
But she sent the pictures. I was trying to make the pictures, get those bank statements in. You can give her the thumbs up. I'm just trying to get the file together. Any other questions on this particular topic? Any questions on any other financial kind of stuff? I do think we should have a discussion about proper documentation, particularly in light of the audit the audit thing that we had with Grizzly this year. So, and we did ask. I know you did. We did ask them to look at our associate councils who were under our umbrella, because it does impact our nonprofit status. So, Chuck.
Everyone. Going to the accrual system to share.
Mhm.
And that change this,
No,
we'll still make that note and everything, you won't just accrue it.
we may accrue it next year, but this is for last year where we were on a cash basis. Next year, we may change the instructions.
Next year being the current.
Yes, so next June.
This time next year.
Yeah. All right, well, I really appreciate you all coming, and Lester, thank you for all your questions, because that was super helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a note, and I'll try and get you the best answer I can get you.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you all. All right, bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.